Finding the right shoes for Achilles tendonitis can be really difficult, but today I'm going to break down the two key factors that you need to look for in shoes to help with your Achilles tendon in terms of offloading it and potentially reducing the pain and the workload, which can help facilitate your rehab, get you back walking, running, or just simply using the stairs. I've selected 6 completely different types of shoes that cover walking, easy running, and some faster runs, so you have a variety of shoes to choose from. Now the first two things that you need to think about are heel drop and rocker within a shoe. Now ideally the higher the heel lift the better, and that means having a higher stack at the back of the shoe compared to the front of the shoe. So especially when you're standing, we know that that lifts the heel upward, similar to if you think you're wearing a high heel, reduces the length and the work placed on the calf, and when you're walking with a higher drop, it also means that you don't have as much workload through the ankle joint, therefore offloading the calf and the Achilles. The second is having a rocker bottom shoe. So what that means is the curve on the bottom of the shoe towards the forefoot, you can also have it towards the heel as well. It means as you go to rock forward, the ankle doesn't have to bend as much, therefore it doesn't put as much strain on your calf and your Achilles, reducing the workload and in the majority of the cases, therefore reducing the pain or increasing the amount of activity that you can do before you get increased pain or symptoms. So with that in mind, let's break down 6 of the key shoes that I typically recommend for patients. Now the first is more of a walking shoe, and that's the Skechers Archid 2.0. Now it has a 15mm difference from the back to the front of the shoe. So that's one of the highest differences that you're going to find of any classic shoe on the market. As you can see, it's very much a walking shoe, as it's quite heavy. The cushioning is actually quite firm despite the volume of cushioning underneath your foot. Now, often we see in walking shoes a higher drop because it facilitates a more normal walking pattern. And on top of the shoe, we've got a relatively normal fit, and this version is a slip-in fit. So if you have a mid-portion Achilles tendonitis, so slightly higher up, it's going to be better than if you have a lower, so an insertion Achilles tendonitis, because you can get some friction off the back of the shoe, especially considering that it's a slip-in shoe. Sometimes you get a little bit of motion at the back, and that can irritate it if you've got bursitis or sensitivity on the back of the heel. However, if it's exclusively in the mid-portion, this can be an excellent option. The downsides being the weight of the shoe, and it may not be to everyone's taste aesthetically. Then we have a completely contrasting shoe, and that's the Nike Structure Plus. Now it does come in an array of colours, not just these bright purple and greens, and it has a 10mm difference from the back to the front of the shoe. It has a gentle rocker on the forefoot, but nothing too substantial. The mixture of cushioning of Zoom X and React X means that it's much softer and much plusher underneath your foot compared to what we saw in the Skechers. It also provides stability on the inside and outside of the shoe. It's relatively unique in that way, and therefore if you struggle with oversupination or with underpronation or pronation control, this is an excellent option to provide stability in terms of keeping you centered in the shoe as you move. So the higher drop, lots of stability, a more cushioned shoe, there's plenty of space in the toe box, and we've got what we call a little groove to the middle of the heel, so this can work equally well if you've got sensitivity on the back of the heel as well as Achilles problems. It's much more of a lightweight shoe compared to what we get in the Skechers, so slightly more versatile, and it can be used for easy runs as well. Then if you're looking for more of a classic stability shoe, we've got a 10mm drop in the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 25. Now this is a very balanced shoe overall. It uses Brooks' go-to support system that essentially provides support along the outside of the shoe and the inside of the shoe, and you can think of it like rails in a bowling alley. They just come up, try and keep you centered in the shoe as you move. Now it's got lots of padding on the back of the heel, and it is very rigid to help control those pronation moments when you initiate contact with the ground. So some people might find that padding presses against their heel if you have sensitivity lower down, but if you're slightly higher up in terms of mid-portion Achilles tendinopathy, this is an excellent option. Cushioning is very balanced overall, so you sink into it, but not too much. So it's an excellent walking shoe. In terms of running, it's quite a standard cushioning, so it doesn't give you too much responsiveness, but it can do those steady miles if you want a versatile option. Has plenty of space in the toe box and a great lockdown on top. It is slightly lighter than what you get in the Structure Plus, but probably not as bouncy underfoot if you're looking for something a little bit more fun to walk or run in. Then we have a completely different type of shoe, and that's the Hoka Clifton 10. Now this can work really well for quite a few people for a number of reasons. It's the lower drop of all the shoes that we've talked about so far, with an 8mm difference in height from back to the front of the shoe, but it makes up for that by having a nice rockered heel and forefoot. It's not too aggressive underfoot, it's got lots of padding, so it helps to absorb vibration and impact when you initiate contact with the ground. And it has a nice groove through the heel. So this can work really well for people who get sensitivity at the back of their heel, as well as having Achilles tendinopathy, as it doesn't cause as much pressure, as much friction as those really padded heels at the back. It might work for some, it may not for others, so it's worth trying in store. Now, one of the downsides of this shoe is that it's slightly tapered towards the toe box, so if you have a wider foot, it is worth considering getting the wide option in this, and it is a true to size and length. Now, the padding underneath the shoe is a mixture of softness but responsive. So when you're walking in it, you really sink into it. If you've got issues with instability, not an ideal option for you. However, for most people, it will feel really comfortable for standing, longer walks, and it's a bit of a workhorse of a shoe when it comes to running. It can do easy miles, long distance, up to marathon training if you're looking for something that covers all of those options. It's nice and lightweight despite the amount of cushioning underfoot. Then we have an even more rockered shoe, and that's the Nike Vomero 18. Again, comes in a variety of colour options rather than these bright neon green if you want to use it as a casual shoe. It's much more rockered than what we get in the Clifton 10, so you can see at the back and at the front of the shoe it rolls upward. It's nice and stiff in the forefoot so that it facilitates a nice push off. The cushioning is really soft, so it's a Zoom X cushioning, so when you walk into it you sink into it. It's got a nice wide platform underneath the shoe, and it's got plenty of padding around the heel cup. Now, it does tilt inward a little bit, so again, not ideal for sensitivity around the back of the heel, but with a 10mm drop, should be excellent for most cases of Achilles tendinopathy. It's got loads of space in the toe box, and it's a true to size and length. So if you want a fun walking shoe that rocks you forward, and you're not worried about any stability issues with your feet, this can be a really fun option, both for walking and for running. Now, it is slightly heavier than the Clifton 10, and it's probably not as fast underfoot, but it can do those steady, easy miles if you want a versatile shoe for walking and for running. Not an ideal option if you want a shoe for the standing still, as that rocker can just tilt you back and forward. Then finally, we've got the Asics Glideride Max 3. Now, this is one of the more unique shoes in the market, as it's got an extremely aggressive forefoot rocker. So this really reduces the workload of the calf and the Achilles, but it is the lowest drop of all 6 shoes, and that can be difficult for some people to adjust to. So we have the FF Blast Max cushioning and the FF Blast Plus cushioning, which means that you get quite a bouncy, firm ride, and it's very stiff in the forefoot as well, stiffer than all the shoes that we've talked about today. So if you want a really rockered, springy, bouncy shoe that's very lightweight, got a very lightweight upper on top if you're interested in breathability, comes in some darker options, plenty of space in the toe box. As far as I'm aware, there's a wide option for those of you who need it. Plenty of cushioning around the heel cup. Again, it's got that curved entry, so it can work well for some people with sensitivity lower down, but worthwhile testing in the shops. Now, if you're looking for a lightweight shoe for daily miles, this is an absolute workhorse of a shoe. So it's an excellent option if you want a running shoe, a rockered walking shoe as well. That's nice and lightweight, nice and springy, and very rockered overall. However, if you have any questions on any other shoes, please drop them in the comment section below. I can't offer personal advice without an assessment, but I can give you general guidance on footwear. And we've got links to all the shoes in the description below if you want to check out the latest prices. If you watch regularly but haven't subscribed, please consider it, as it makes a massive difference to the channel. Thank you very much for watching.